Hey guys, welcome back to a new video. I'm Stephanie Fisher. I'm a licensed counselor here in the state of Michigan, and I am owner and operator of In Progress Counseling. It's a fascinating process. What can happen when someone submits to the process of therapy and engages in trust with their therapist? There are so many times where I have the ability to see around the bend for a client when they can't see, when they're kind of stuck in gridlock over something in their present. And I'm allowed to give them some sort of insight into the next little thing they might experience or the next thing that will likely happen. And because there's trust built and because there's an openness that they're experiencing to the process of transformation, they often come in within a few sessions with some brand new pivot in their life that they once upon a time thought was not possible. And so as an example, let's say I have someone in here and they're absolutely terrified about being in the work process. So they're worried about the whole idea of going for, putting in applications, going for an interview, trying to figure out, hey, what's the right fit for me? And so there's this really big wall of fear that is disallowing them from engaging the process of job hunting or job searching. And so in real time, we'll say, hey, can you tell me about that fear? And they might talk about, former rejection, former bad work experiences. They might talk about just the novelty of work. Maybe they've never been in a position before. They might talk about some social anxiety. They might talk about imposter syndrome. They might talk about that they're coming from a highly critical environment where they couldn't do much right. And as we talk about that, because there's trust and because there's openness to that conversation, a little part of them starts to engage in hope without them knowing it. And so we'll talk through the fear and we'll honor it, and we'll say, I wonder if there's things we can do about that. And then I'll typically end the session at some point saying, I'm really looking forward to hearing how this develops over the next few weeks. I can tell that you're demonstrating a readiness for a job. This is pretty exciting. I can hear that you're willing to take the brave next step. And often within 1 or 2 sessions, they come back and they have the job and they don't even talk about the fear side of it anymore. It's just something that they've done. It's something that they've approached. It's something that they knew they were going to have to do at some point. Now they have. And what's often happening is we take that gridlock, that immobilization, we call it by its name, fear. We hold that fear together. And the only thing I do is I remind them what's on the other side of that fear. And I speak with confidence that that's what they're ready for. They're ready for that next step. And as the brain is open and responsive and it's trusting and it hears someone say, of course you're scared. And I suspect you're going to head in this direction anyway. It supercharges many clients with the ability to not only ungridlock, but go do the thing that they wanted to be doing anyway. And that's one of the things I love about working in transitions and working in changes is we hold fear again and again and again. And we say, of course, let's talk about it. It comes from somewhere. Maybe this thing is novel. Maybe this thing is very brave because it actually is confronting a former trauma or a former horrific experience you've had. Maybe it's challenging your sense of self. There's a whole bunch of reasons that fear shows up. But I'm typically able to say, we wouldn't be talking about it if it wasn't important to you. We wouldn't be talking about it if you didn't have some type of readiness for things to change. And after we hold that fear together, it is wild how quickly people step towards the things that were immobilizing them. I'm not sure why this is the message that's springing forth today, outside of I was just able again to see around the bend with a client. And I'm just very excited for 2, 3, 4 weeks from now when they come back and whatever this gridlock was, it's not going to exist in a short while here. And even if it does, we can start to put practical strategies around it, skill building and next steps and gradual exposure. But first we have to hold the fear. And we get to do that in therapy, but it is essential that there's trust built into the dynamic and there's an openness to doing really brave things like holding fear. It's a lot of what we do in transitions. It's a lot of what we do in disrupting anxiety. It's a lot of the work we do in holding depression together and coming up with ways to move through that. But it's really cool. And I'll say to clients these hopeful statements about, oh man, I can't wait to see what happens in a couple weeks. Because typically on the other side of holding fear together, beautiful things start to emerge. Things that often I can't even anticipate with clarity, but I know something's coming and I know things are changing because we're holding that fear together.